guys, so in this video I am going to tackle the dreaded NITI loop. Dun dun dun. I don't know why I'm so hyper. It might be because I'm drinking tea. But anyways, if you are somehow new to my channel or if you've never seen my videos before, I am an INFJ, so this topic is very near and dear to my heart, especially since basically last weekend I feel like I was doing the NITI loop. And for those of you that are either a different type or maybe unfamiliar with the NITI loop as it pertains to INFJs and Myers-Briggs MBTI, basically for an INFJ it means that we are only focused, or we are primarily focused on introverted intuition, which is our primary function, which makes sense, and instead of extroverted feeling, our auxiliary or secondary function, which we are usually engaged with, we decide to ignore that and we decide to get in a loop between our first function and our tertiary function, which is introverted thinking, TI. And we also kind of ignore extroverted sensing. And yes, we are not strong at extroverted sensing, so that kind of makes sense in this. But we need to use our extroverted feeling as INFJs. We have to use extroverted feeling. And for other types, this loop could look different. So for example, maybe an ENFp, instead of introverted intuition and introverted thinking, it would be extroverted intuition and extroverted thinking. That would be the loop. It would be very similar in the sense, well, it may not look similar, but it's similar in concept. So every single type has a kind of loop like this, but I'm going to be specifically talking about the INFJ dreaded NITI loop or grip. So first of all, I wanted to talk about how we get into this. There could be a number of reasons. I think for a lot of INFJs, when you go through some type of hardship and you're kind of forced to think about things, it's very easy to go down this introverted intuition, introverted thinking rabbit hole, where you get so lost in your thoughts, you're thinking about everything, and it's like a loop. It literally is like a loop, where it just keeps on, goes to introverted intuition, and then it goes to introverted thinking, and then it goes to introverted intuition, and then it goes to introverted thinking. That's why it's called the loop, because it keeps on going through. It's like, okay, I have this possibility in mind with introverted feeling. Guys, okay, introverted intuition. That's where the idea is coming, and then you put it through this filter of introverted thinking, and you're like, okay, well, these are the facts for this. This is, the technical thing about this. This is, all of this, going into all of the different details of introverted thinking. And then it goes back to introverted intuition, and it just basically goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so what this looks like, because let's say there is some type of hardship, depression, some type of moment in that INFJ's life where they are they force themselves, and they may not be super aware of this, but they're putting themselves in the state of thought that is basically keeping them in this grip of the loop. And so they just are sedentary in their thinking, and maybe they aren't sedentary in the sense, maybe they're still somewhere, but it's not getting them anywhere. It's actually becoming very unhealthy. And at first, maybe the INFJ doesn't realize that, but at a certain point, the INFJ will, because they're like, okay, wait, I haven't been interacting with people in a long time. I kind of need to do that. Wait, I haven't interacted with the world. I kind of need to do that. And whatever the reason is for getting into the loop, basically the way to combat that as an INFJ is just to engage with the extroverted functions. Primarily, I would say extroverted feeling, just because that is more near and dear to an INFJ's heart. We definitely need to use extroverted feeling. And yes, we do use it all the time, but it was silenced during this loop or grip. So to get out of the grip, to get out of the loop, you have to there's going to be an aha moment. Maybe it's not as strong for certain people, but I know I've been in there. For example, this past weekend, I was basically in this NITI loop to a certain extent, in the sense that I was isolating myself and I was just kind of thinking and just getting into that. I was actually doing things. It wasn't just me, at the house doing this, but it was a mindset that I just got into. So when I wasn't necessarily doing the things that I did this past weekend, like making the interviews and stuff like that, I was just in this constant mindset of basically the grip. And so a way to combat that for an INFJ is to interact with people. And this doesn't have to be, you have to see someone in person. I would recommend going out there and seeing people in person. That would be a more surefire way of releasing that sooner. But you could write something to someone. You could, if all your friends live abroad or they are not in the same state as you, like me, I don't really have any friends because I moved here 6 months ago. But besides people from work, I don't really know people in South Carolina. So all of my friends live in Georgia. Luckily I live with my mom, so I'm able to see her. I'm able to see my cats and my dog. But I personally, and I think for other INFJs, need to walk outside of themselves and go out and meet people, interact, whether that's online, whether, again, a letter, or and I would be very careful about the letter because it's easy to get lost in thought. You have to really put yourself out there in the sense of really trying to engage with extroverted feeling. If someone invites you somewhere and you're in this state, as much as you don't want to go, because I know a lot of INFJs don't like to go to parties, don't like to go to, get-togethers if it's more than one person or just a few people. If it is one person or just a few people, go there, do it. If it's a party, I understand if you don't want to go, but try to at least have some type of interaction that you have with someone. Even if that means calling up a friend and talking to them, because I know a lot of INFJs, when talking to someone else, can be very therapeutic and very helpful. So what you don't want to do in that situation is stay at home or stay wherever you are and just kind of continue in this grip or loop. And to build on that, another extroverted function that we have in our stack, if we're thinking in MBTI, is extroverted sensing. So this means going out and interacting with the world. It's kind of like extroverted feeling in the sense that you're going out there and doing things, but this could be going out for a walk, doing an exercise, getting your body engaged and interacting with different things, having all of the senses excited in the sense of maybe go to a new restaurant. If you can't go with someone else, I would, that would be a great thing to do as in order to engage with both extroverted feeling and extroverted sensing, is to go to a restaurant with a friend and try something new. So let's say you've never tried Korean barbecue before and that's something that you would be interested in. Go out and do it. Go out, make some memories, do things that are going to engage with that extroverted sensing. And memories, not as much, that's more introverted sensing, but I think you guys know what I mean, is putting yourself in nature, in the world. Doesn't have to be in nature, but I would say at least go out and do something. Don't be stuck in your place, because when you're stuck in your own environment, in your comfort zone, you're going to be more and more likely to go down this rabbit hole of introverted intuition and introverted thinking. And so, I mean, that aside, what did I do to get out of my little loop this weekend? I think what's very helpful for me, and I know that not everybody can say this, but what was helpful for me is I did realize that that was happening. And I had to, another thing that I did is, I had to really kind of feel my emotions, because when I get into that loop, and that loop I think was longer than what I thought. I think it was actually for at least a few days to a week. And when I'm in that state, and I think a lot of INFJs can relate to this, I was not really engaged with my emotions and how I felt, because it was kind of a coping mechanism. And that's another thing. I think INFJs go into, it's like they retreat. If you're a turtle, you retreat in your shell. And it's just not, it's not healthy. And to other types, let's say like an INTP who has introverted thinking as their primary function, that is a very natural place to be. And if they were in a loop with introverted thinking and introverted sensing, that would not be a very, they would probably fall to a similar sort of loop. It would be different for them, but it's just not where you want to be. You want to try to engage with all of your functions. And I know extroverted sensing can be hard to engage with, but for INFJs, I would say doing active things. And this doesn't have to be like you're like a athlete or something, but even exercising. I think anybody would get a lot of value from doing some type of exercise, because you're going to have chemical reactions that are also playing a role in making you feel better, and you're also bettering yourself. Also, this isn't really necessarily a part of the NITI loop, but take care of yourself. Drink water, get rest, get some sleep. I had to get some sleep because I was kind of overworking myself. And I think that when we're INFJs and we get into this loop or grip, we can overwork ourselves, and at a certain point we're going to hit a wall, and that might be your wake-up call. But what I would say, instead of I think if you don't do it, it's very easy to kind of get into a depression. And I've been in a spot where my NITI loop has even gotten me into a very deep depression, where I felt like there was no meaning, because I was that disengaged with extroverted feeling and extroverted sensing. I could just walk outside and I just wasn't, like, I could logically think, oh yes, this is it, but I really truly felt like there wasn't any meaning, because I was so disconnected from those functions. So you don't want to be like me in that sense. That was years ago, but still, I don't want to see anybody ever fall into that. And I know that people will, but if this is helpful for any INFJ or any other type, again, this can look differently for each type, but each type has a certain loop or grip that they fall into. So I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If you are new, my name is Emily. You pronounce my channel pucokie. And if you like this video, please like it. If you would like to subscribe, please subscribe. If you have any ideas that you want to see, this was actually taken from a lot of people wanted me to do a video about the NITI loop. And this is my take on it. Definitely do your own research, and things may work differently for other people, but hopefully this was helpful for you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.